Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mike Larkin, the host of On the Mic with Mike, as a part of the Stephen Mike Show podcast network. You can check us out on www.stephenmikeshow.com, which is up and running right now, featuring such shows as you're about to hear tonight. This is another edition of On the Mic with Mike, and I am pleased to have on adult star, the lovely Miss Raven Roxx. Raven, it's a pleasure to have you on the show. How are you?
It's same here. Thank you for having me. I'm doing awesome.
You are very welcome. First and foremost, there's a lot to talk about, a lot to encompass in here. Talk about Tranny House. We're going to talk about the wrestling porno, which you guys just did, alongside Callie Cox, Kirsten Buns, Kaylin J. There's a lot of stuff that's been going on with you, and I got to say, you're doing a lot of great work.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, we just, we got tired of, I'm 44.
Okay.
And Kimber Haven is 46. And when you start your transition so late and you get into porn so late, a lot of companies like to tell you no because you're not like in your 20s. So myself, and her wife, Lexa Steele, who's our director, all decided to start our own porn company. We just decided to do it and make our own content and put it out, and it's just kind of really caught on.
I gotta say this, when you guys are talking about Bad Girl Mafia, and you mentioned Lexa Steele, y'all have the Totally Inappropriate radio show. I gotta just ask you, first and foremost, there's a lot of great stuff along those lines there. How did the radio show come into fruition? How did this whole Bad Girl Mafia come into fruition?
I can't take credit for it, because I actually have a day job. So does Lexus. So it was all Kimber Haven, actually. She started getting in good with some of the people from Demon Seed, which is the group that carries our show. And she came to me one day and basically said, "Do you guys want to be on a radio show?" And I kind of inquired a little bit, and it sounded really cool. And here we are, oh gosh, almost 3 years later. And as far as what I understand, we're the number 2 show on the network with something like 400,000 weekly listeners. So it's really taken off.
I gotta say, from a podcasting, from a radio show standpoint, I gotta say, for you, I mean, you have a fun show, Totally Inappropriate. You get to touch upon all different facets of life and have a lot of great topics. So I think for you, it's got to feel great that people are listening to you. You have that platform, and it transitions, and it resonates with people.
Well, I can't believe that people want to join us for 2 hours just to hear us bitch about things, because that's all we do in the radio show. It's like we do updates on what we're all doing and stuff like that, but most of the time it's just us bitching about things. And apparently that resonates with people because, we've been here 3 years and I don't see any end in sight. So...
Well, I think it's kind of like an emotion thing, too, because it's like, because when you say, I'm just bitching for 2 hours, whether it be bitching or something, you're evoking emotions because, like I said, it relates to a lot of people just because whatever's going on in the country, whatever someone's going through in their life, like I said, you really never know who you touch or inspire, encourage, or just, resonate and just, agree with.
Well, yeah, that's true. Throughout the 3 years, we've kind of figured out what people like to hear and what kind of turns them off. And I don't know how it is with your show, but I try to stay away from, as much as possible, political stuff, because that's extremely polarizing one way or the other. But
yeah,
can't keep Kimber away from, Kimber absolutely hates Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, the people will actually say, "Oh, you're talking politics again." And it's like, we understand they don't like it, but we can't stop her from talking about it.
All right. can actually relate to that. I don't mean to laugh, but I actually can. I can sympathize with that because when we do these shows with the Stephen Mike Show Podcast Network, there's interviews like we're doing here, Raven, talking about the adult entertainment industry. I've had a lot of people in the wrestling and music industry on, but when my co-host and I, my best friend since high school, Steve Nicoforo, when we talk about the news and current events, we generally don't go into the political area because first and foremost, I know there's a lot of people that don't like Donald Trump. There's people that like him. Whatever you do, whatever you like, whatever you don't, that's fine. But I usually, like a lot of people, just try to share and stay away from the political side. So I completely sympathize and hear you on that front.
It's kind of a turnoff for a lot of people. So we try to steer her away, but she's like a dog. She keeps going right back to that bone because that's her bone and she hates it. So there's been a few shows where we have literally talked politics almost the entire show, and I'm sure those aren't the favorite shows.
You know what it is, too? Like, from the political standpoint, it's like, okay, because it's the issues that are going on in the country and stuff, but then again, it's just like, they don't want to hear about it. And here's the funny thing about it, because there's, for those that don't know, and for those that are familiar with the wrestling, PW Insider, Pro Wrestling Insider, it's a very popular wrestling website. They give you news, they give you audio shows where they talk about the world of pro wrestling, and sometimes they'll dip their toe and talk about, what's going on in their lives, like you mentioned, which is cool, but then they'll talk, like, very briefly about political, and they even say beforehand, if you don't like this where the conversation's going, turn off. So yeah, because I think people realize it's topical, but it's just like, I really don't want to hear about it. They kind of want to keep the politics out of it. So I can kind of see it from both sides, but yeah, you kind of wish you had like the on-off switch, like the mute button when she starts going into that, right?
But yeah, we really can't harp on her too much.
True.
I mean, the show is named the Totally Inappropriate Radio Show, so
true.
Like everything is fair game.
Of course, and you got to live up to the title and what the show is a representation of. Exactly.
Well, yeah, we have 2 transsexuals and a genetic female or a cis female, depending on how, woke you are. And it's so funny. People don't actually, I know some people do, but the dynamic that we have going, I think, is what helps it do so well, because you have 3 people on a show talking, but what some people may not understand is I actually date Kimber Haven, and Lexus Steele is Kimber Haven's wife, and Lexus and I are like best friends. We go shopping all the time. We do all kinds of stuff together. So it's almost like having your own radio show with your own family.
And first and foremost, I'm just going to say this right now from the spiritual side, and as someone who appreciates the love and all thing, I got to say God bless and much love and happiness to both yourself and Kimber, and the same with Lexus Steele. But I got to tell you something. I think that's also what's the cool part about it, because you mentioned the wife and, the dating and the relationships there. I think that's cool from the family perspective because y'all know each other. Y'all are pretty much in sync with each other, and that makes for a great dynamic on the radio.
It does, because when you have like Kimber or Lexus going in a certain direction, when you know them, it's very easy to anticipate where they're going before they actually get there. And then you've already got some kind of input. You're not put on the spot trying to think of something to say. You're already there.
Exactly.
You know both people so well.
You know what? When you say that, it also kind of reminds me, because let me tell you something, folks. As someone, I mentioned my co-host, Steve Nicoforo, been my best friend for high school since about 10 years now, right? I love that dude. I know what he's thinking. I think that's what makes a great show, because you know each other. The chemistry is there, and I think that's really true and also resonates because you're best friends, even though you're not blood. You're kind of like brothers, and whether sisters, what have you. It's the kinsmanship, if you know what I'm saying. It's just that, yeah.
One of them's fucking you in the butt. Yeah, because with Kimber and I am mainly the bottom, and Kimber is mainly the top. Not to say we don't switch it up every once in a while, but it just was how our dynamic ended up working out. Actually, in January, I will have known Kimber for about 5 years, and I've known Lexus just as long. And I want to say we officially started dating around August of 2015. So it's when you know someone that well, yeah, it makes for really good content on a show.
Of course, and I mean also with your films as well. I know you guys have done stuff like you mentioned, top and bottom. You switch it up, and I know that you've included some toys in that. But that also, really resonates for a lot of people on film and the content that you give them on that aspect.
Yeah, yeah. If you're referring to a specific porn where I'm wearing a blonde wig with
Correct.
pigtails,
Yes.
I hate that video.
Oh.
Not because there's anything particularly wrong with that video. I just Kimber was the one that convinced me to wear that wig, and I hated it. I absolutely hated it.
Well, I mean, it's just like, let me ask you, because you've done so many films with Kimber and so many, great. I mean, what's great about it is you have a very variety with your films, which we're going to get into on this show. But is it like the one that really sticks out that you just weren't the fan of doing, or is that really the main one? Or is there a couple where you're like, you know what I'm saying, as far as that goes?
There is one floating around out there that I wish had never seen the light of day. It was actually, I don't know if it was the first porn I ever did or if it was one of the very first. But I did a shoot with a company I won't name because I don't want to call them out.
Okay.
They're a really good company. It's just they were in the beginning of starting their company at the same time I was starting porn. Well, they invited Kimber and I to come out and film. Well, at the last second, Kimber had to drop out. She had some family issues that she had to take care of. And I was like, well, I don't want to leave this guy hanging. I'll go up on my own. Was supposed to be just like some solo jerk offs, a photo shoot, and some interviews, and that was it. Well, I get there and we start filming, and they wanted to start doing butt stuff. And I was not prepared. I didn't know we were going to go this route, so I didn't bring anything to prepare. But in my young porn mind, I felt very confident that I was clean. And so I was like, well, okay, I feel pretty good about this. And let's just say I wasn't as clean as I thought I was.
Ooh.
Yeah, they cut most of it out, but there's still a lot in there that I would never want to see the light of day. Plus, all of my early porn that's out there for free that everyone watches is a minimum of 3 years old. I think there's only maybe one or two videos that's less than that. And when I started porn, I was probably, I'm only 5'5", and I was probably 170, 175 pounds, maybe a little bit heavier. And I thought I looked good at the time, but now I look back on it and it's like looking back at old fat pictures. You look at it and you cringe and you're like, yuck. I mean, because now I'm in the best shape I've ever been in my life. I'm only 140 pounds. Just this year, I've lost like 30. So, yeah, a lot of my early porn, I was wearing corsets. And when I wasn't wearing corsets, I was not liking the way I looked.
Let me tell you something right now. I'm glad that you mentioned, like, you were talking about 170 to 140. I also say that to you because, I mean, you got badass ink on your arm. You look good. You got that. Like I said, I can tell you're feeling yourself, and that's great. And then you put in the work to look good from a fitness standpoint, mind, body, and soul. You're doing your thing, Raven.
Yes, I am actually a very avid runner. I love going running. My issue was in my transition and in the beginning of porn, I was not a twink when I started this journey. Not a twink at all. You get shorter as you are on hormones longer, at least some people do. I did. I went from like 5'6", 5'6.5", down to 5'5", and at the time, before my transition, I should say, I was, 5'6", but I was 215 pounds. And it wasn't 215 pounds of lazy fat ass. It was 215 pounds bench pressing 300 pounds, foot pressing like half a ton. I had 17.5-inch biceps and 22-inch calves. And now my arms are down to like 11-inch biceps, and I've never measured my calves, but they're so much smaller. Um, where some people are wanting to lose like fat, I could not lose muscle. And so when I was like 175 pounds, it wasn't fat. It was like what Kimber likes to call me very often, not so much anymore, She-Hulk. Yes, She-Hulk. She called me She-Hulk because I don't even know how to describe it. I wouldn't say it was a masculine build, but I look like one of those women who spends too much time at the gym, like way too much time. And I wanted to get rid of that. So the beginning of this year, I decided to start intermittent fasting. And through that course, I lost over 30 pounds. And it gives you what you see now. 5'5", 140 pounds. I still look very athletic, and I'm still very athletic minded, but it's just so much better. I'm in that zone where a genetic or a cis female should be. I mean, when you're 5'5", 175, you're actually showing up on the bad side of the BMI, even though I didn't have fat. So I'm happy to be where I am right now.
I gotta say, it's great to follow your journey there, Raven. Just because I could tell you're very happy, you're very vibrant, you're a very nice person. Like I said, I'm gonna say this truly right now, and I'll probably reiterate this when we get towards the end of the show. But I truly wish you nothing but love, happiness, and continued success on your end.
Oh, thank you. I wish the same for you.
Ah, thank you. I look at it like this, man, because we're going to be talking about. I wanted to ask you about the transition as well. I'm going to say this right now. As someone, yes, who was raised Catholic, but let me tell you something. Over my lifetime, I worked in market research for about 8 years, and I don't care if you're male, female, transgender, what have you. I always believe in treating people equally with the same respect that I would want in return. So I'm going to tell you something right now. Exactly. But no, this is here, and I truly mean this because I was raised by, just a wonderful mother and a wonderful woman and a wonderful grandmother, God rest her soul. So I've always believed in the three key elements of beauty, strength, and dominance that make women the work of art that they are, and us as people the work for they are. We're God's children. So I got to say this to you. I got to also wish you much love on that aspect as well, because again, you look great. You're doing your thing in the adult entertainment industry, and it's just really helped you, where you are today.
Yeah, I mean, to be still rocking the porn career after 4 years and being 44. I mean, I'm going to turn 45 next month, and there's really not that many trans porn stars that are still around at our age. Usually you kind of get told no so many times that people just quit. We got told no so many times, we said, fuck it, we'll start our own company. And that's how Bad Girl Mafia was formed. We got tired of being told no. And we've been very blessed to have the capital, the time, and everything to be able to arrange all this, set it up. Like I said, I have a full-time job. Lexus does too. Riley, who has just recently come into being a Bad Girl Mafia member maybe 6 or 8 months ago, she also works a full-time job. So we help out where we can, but a lot of the day-to-day running falls on Kimber, and she does a great job doing that.
And I think it does show again with the work and what you guys do with Bad Girl Mafia. Let me tell you something right now. I mean, when you talk about, I kind of also see the mindset because you're told no, and it's just like, you know what, let's just start our own thing. And I appreciate that because that's the entrepreneurial, I guess, spirit. And it's like, hey, let's do our own thing, and it has been successful. And you do see results after years upon years upon years, whether it be your career radio show. And I'm going to use a pop culture reference. I'm going to quote the late great Aaliyah: "Age ain't nothing but a number." You're still doing your thing, and still keep doing your thing, Miss Raven Roxx.
Exactly. I couldn't agree with that more. Actually, I mean, most people don't even think I'm 44. Very lucky, because when I was 38 and started hormones as a guy, I actually looked like I was like 40-something. Mm. And for me to quote somebody, if you've ever seen the Dave Chappelle show,
yes,
hormones are a hell of a drug. I mean, I guess you're going to see different results, but myself and even Kimber, We started ours so late that everyone was telling us, well, you're not going to see results. You're always going to look like men. And we took that as a challenge. And we said, no, hell no. We are going to make this, we are going to rock this. And honestly, the only surgeries I have ever had was, obviously these big knockers I got hanging off my chest. And I did have a little bit of lipo about 2.5, maybe even 3 years ago now. Gosh, it's all starting to run together. I had a couple, once I had lost a bunch of weight, I had a few spots that were being stubborn. And instead of working out like crazy to get rid of those stubborn areas, because I was afraid I was going to lose my ass too if I did, and my ass is one of the things I'm known for, I just took the easy route and went and paid like $9,000 and went and got lipo.
I will say to that, what's interesting about you, that and your look, and you talk about your ass being your ass set, pun intended, and you talk about your knockers. Here's the thing, though. You know what I'm saying? I think that's a great. Just having as far as the liposuction, you had to do what you need to do. But I gotta just say this thing: you look great, whether it be what have you. You know what I'm saying? I think that's just really what makes you as a whole, and that's what people know you for. And I think that really, is their true essence, so to speak, of who you are.
I would agree. I don't really think. What I do think is you get out what you put into it.
Of course.
And some people, and we're seeing this in kind of like our own trans community, and this is where I'm going to go totally inappropriate. We feel a little bit differently than a lot of trans people do. There's a lot of trans people out there that think they should just be able to say they're trans and not make any effort. And I could not disagree with that more. If you want to be recognized as a female, maybe not, a cis female, but when I'm out in public, I want to portray as feminine as I can. It's one of those things where, look, I understand you want to do it your way, but you get these people that complain about how they're harassed in bathrooms, they're harassed at restaurants, they're harassed wherever. But then you see pictures of what the person looks like, and I'm not even talking about whether, because I understand some people have more money than others and things like that. So I understand that some people don't have the money to pay for all the surgeries, but there's this kind of like subgenre of trans people who think they should be able to just say they're trans and totally present as their male self, but they want to be treated like a female. And I mean, me being trans myself, I completely do not understand that. I have wanted to be a girl since I was about 4 years old. And family circumstances, and then I got married, and it's not something you just can really come right out and tell a spouse, so I hid it my entire life until it just got too much to bear. Ex came out, told me she wasn't happy, and it had nothing to do with me being, I really wasn't presenting, I was going out occasionally and stuff like that, but the whole time frame of how long she said she was unhappy did not match up with the time frame of me getting really serious about this. And I'm like, she's unhappy, I'm unhappy, I'm just going to go ahead and start hormones. And I didn't tell her. Well, this is what it is. And you said you had grown up Catholic.
Yes.
So you will be able to identify with this on a certain level.
Yes.
My ex grew up Southern Baptist.
Oh, boy.
Yes. When I finally came out and told her everything, there was screaming around the house, I am not a lesbian. You hid it for 40 years. Why can't you hide it for 40 more? A lot of stuff like that. A lot of real hurtful stuff. But, she was seeing her free ride disappear, so I can see where she was mad. But when I fully confessed everything to her, it lasted about 4 more days before she asked me to move out. Yes. And I had nothing. Because at the time we had two kids. Well, we still have two kids, but at the time they were living at home and they were like 16 and 17. And I did not want their life to be uprooted any more than it had to be. So I literally left and I took everything that was in our spare bedroom, which was like a bedroom, like a bed, a dresser, and I think an old flat panel TV that we had. And that's literally, other than my Cobra, which is my baby, that's all I walked out with. So I literally had to start completely over when I came out. And it's, if you talk to many trans girls, a lot of them, whether they were booted out of their parents' house or booted out of, friends or apartments or whatever because of discrimination, it's kind of a story you hear a lot.
Yeah, and once you mention the Southern Baptist thing, I'm just kind of like, yeah. And here's the thing, as a Catholic and as someone who believes in God, I always just was like, you know what, if as long as they're not hurting anybody, in which they're not, you're not hurting anybody, you're not hurting you know what it is? It's just, why does it matter? If somebody's gay, if somebody's transgender, lesbian, that's just always been my thing. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to love them the same way I'd love a family member, a friend, what have you. It does not matter. You know what I'm saying? So I understand that. And I can understand the reaction. But I think in a way, what's great about this thing called life is we all have that journey. And now you've taken this journey. And again, here you are today being the confident and just being the absolute great person that you are, Raven. So I got to say, it was kind of a journey in a way just to see, how the road that life would take you.
Yeah. I mean, as a male,
yeah,
guy, I was so unhappy that I was actually taking it out on family members, not physically, but
verbally.
I had a very short temper and could never figure out why, and it was just because I was miserable. Soon as I started this journey to actually living truthfully to myself, I just saw all of that just disappear. And I don't think it has anything to do with hormones, because like I said, I was on hormones for 2 years before I ever even came out to my ex, and it still existed. And I mean, even though she wants one step above nothing to do with me, I actually reached out to her once and I felt like I needed to apologize. I was like, none of this is your fault. Even when I was acting like an asshole, it wasn't your fault. I just hated myself. And she thanked me, but she still, to this day, we split up in December, like the last few days of December 2014. And we were finally finalized our divorce in like February of 2017. And she has never spoken to me on the phone. She actually filed to have the divorce papers sealed because here in Kentucky, they put divorces in the paper. And I had already changed my name, and she is so homophobic that she did not want the paper to say, I'm not going to use my real name, but Raven divorced, Christina. And she actually filed a motion with the court to have it sealed because she didn't want anyone to find out. It's just, when you're trans and you're in Kentucky, you run into a lot of that. Thank God. I hate the term passable. I hate it, but I don't know. Let's just say when I'm out in public, 99.9% of the time, I don't get any weird looks. I don't get any, people treat me just like I'm a cis female. I actually picked up my prescription from CVS last night and they said they had to talk to me. And I'm like, okay. So I go and I'm talking to the pharmacist and she's telling me how the medications I'm taking might interact negatively with my ovaries. So that kind of gives you an idea of where I am in my transition.
Uh-huh.
This pharmacist thinks that I have ovaries. I kind of got a kick out of that. It was hilarious.
Well, I gotta say this, and I'll be honest with you. Whether it be Kentucky, like you said, like yeah, I know you hate the term passable, but I've seen it whether it's been in South Carolina, whether it be back home in New York. And you know what it is too, and I think that's funny because a lot of people I think can say that they think you have ovaries and stuff, but it's just like yeah, you see that too, and I gotta tell you, listening to your story and listening to your transition from where you were to where you are, I say a lot of people are gonna relate to that for those who are in the same boat as you were.
Yes. One thing that I told myself I was going to do if I made it. Um, Anytime anyone, what we call baby trans,
Hmm.
approaches me, I always make it a point to talk to them, give them advice, stuff like that. Because when I first started my transition, the girls that were in the position I am in now, everyone I tried to talk to treated me like I was a leper. And I think that's bullshit. I think as a trans community, we should strive to help each other. And I will always take time out of my day, even if it's only a few minutes. I mean, with as much as I get contacted, it's hard for me to have long drawn out conversations, but I always try to at least, let these girls know I know where they are. Um, you can get here too. It just depends on how much you're willing to put into it.
Exactly, and I have to say with you as well, you were talking about your transition. I got to say this first and foremost, as I know you were in the military, and I got to say thank you for what you've done for our country. What is that like? Just just the military, then you're transitioning to where you are. I mean, you're fighting for our country. You're dealing with this. What you're doing? How was that whole thing like?
Yeah, I'm now sitting in a country where I served my country, but now had all I done was changed my appearance,
Mm-hmm.
it would have disqualified me for service.
Wow.
Because now we have this trans ban in place, and it's just ridiculous. But to go back to my experience, I come from a military family. My grandfather served on a destroyer in the South Pacific during World War II. My dad was in Vietnam. I have a sister who is a CID agent. If you don't know what that is, if you've ever seen the show NCIS,
Yes.
that's her, except for the Army instead of the Navy.
Gotcha.
She's married to a guy who's Special Forces. My brother spent 9 years in the Marine Corps. I have multiple other family members who served in the military, so it's just kind of expected. But on a flip flop on that, because I always felt trans, didn't know what to call it a lot of my life, but now I can say that, I had always wanted to be who I am now. I was always trying to prove how masculine I was. So obviously, what more masculine thing can you do than to join the military, and not only join, but be infantry in the Army? I mean, that's pretty masculine.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what's funny is I kind of go for the guys that are prior military now that hit me up. I like big muscular tattoos. And what do you see a large group of, especially in the combat MOSs, combat roles,
Mm-hmm.
is you see guys that are really beefy, very muscular, and they cover themselves in tattoos. And that just does it for me. So, actually, when I came out to my sister, who was the CID agent, I asked her, I said, did you have any clue? And she said, not a clue. She said, but it should. She says, it makes perfect sense now. She said, it should have hit me because you were always trying to prove how masculine you were. Military, lifting weights, driving race cars. Everything I did was always to prove how masculine I was, to throw people off the scent of who I really wanted to be.
Well, You know what it is too. I mean, you mentioned like the man eye candy there, little abs of steel, little muscular, the tattoos, the whole line there, and I see that. I think that really goes with you as a person. But I mean, talking about your sister and the whole nine there, I look at it like, hey, I mean, that's just you and that's what you like. And I gotta say, just being your sister, they're being supportive of you, having no idea, but still, it's kind of cool just to see just how what you're into and how it really kind of goes back to the military. If that makes sense, because it kind of comes full circle in a way.
Yeah, yeah. I when I came out to my family was, with the exception of my ex and my children, who
Mm-hmm.
my ex is completely mind fucked into thinking I am the devil, but um, my family accepted it. My brother and my two sisters know that I do porn, and one of the first things they said was, "Don't tell mom."
Oh.
But the older of my two sisters and my brother know I do it. They don't care that I do it, but they don't want to hear about it. Now my youngest sister, who's a total hippie, is so supportive that when we did, it was either She Mouth Scares or oh gosh, why am I brain farting the name? Our Space Pirates one, T-Girl Space Pirates. She wanted a copy. And not only did she want a copy, but she wanted a signed copy. She's like, I'm never going to watch it because I don't want to see you naked, but I do want a signed copy of one of your DVDs.
See, that's cool though. That's support, even though you don't want to see your family member naked. But hey, if they're supporting your dream, you're supporting the career for which you chose. That's still pretty cool.
Yeah, she's been like one of my biggest cheerleaders. She's 13 years younger than me, and she was actually the first person I came out to. And this was probably 2012, and when I showed her some pictures, she's like, "Oh my gosh, you look amazing." And I look back on it now, and I looked horrible. But she was being supportive, so I love her to death. She's really the only one I have any kind of ongoing conversations with. The rest of my family is busy with their own lives, and her and I are the only single ones now, so we get to talk a lot.
I gotta say, I gotta give a love and respect and happiness to your sister because that's a great sister right there.
Yes, I don't know if my family woke up when they had her, because my other two siblings are from a previous marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm part of that previous marriage sibling group. And she had come along after my mother had remarried. And I don't know if it was they were just too tired and they just kind of brought her up to be open-minded because they just weren't feeling like, being as strict. But I love her to death.
Well, I think you could tell from talking to me and my thoughts and getting to know you here, Raven, that I think that's how you have to be. There's a lot of people that need to be open-minded and kind of see things. I always kind of say it's kind of like putting yourself in the other person's shoes and kind of be relatable and supportive and show them that. So I got to appreciate once more, again, the open-mindedness because that's just a great way and an overall outlook to look at it.
Oh, yeah, because I actually ran into one of my ex-brother-in-laws once.
Oh, damn.
Oh, yes, I was, me and my ex, now my dog has passed away last month, but we used to keep our dogs like people do children with like visitation and stuff. And I was going there to pick my dog up after a weekend had gone by and they happened to be there. And I'm like, please don't get out of your car. Please stay. I don't feel like dealing with this. Of course they get out.
Ugh.
They come back and he goes, Raven? Or no, actually he used my dead name first. He goes, Mike? And I'm like, no, it's Raven. And he goes, oh, hey. And he's like, oh, we miss you so much. And it's like, yeah, you miss me so much that the minute my ex tells the entire family we're splitting up, her entire side of the family has never spoken to me again.
Jesus.
Yes.
Oh man, that no, that's just so wrong.
Love your neighbor,
Yeah.
love everybody. And as soon as I came out, and this is coming, oh, you'll love this.
Okay.
My ex's sister got divorced a year before we did because her husband was physically and mentally abusive.
Wow.
After they were divorced, he was still invited to family get-togethers. But the minute I come out, no one speaks to me.
Now,
So I guess in a typical Southern Baptist family, it's okay to beat your kids and demean them. Just don't dress like them.
I'm just gonna say this, and excuse my language. I've been trying to remain, but that is a load of horse shit if I've ever heard anything in my life.
Yes, and I don't even know how to follow that logic, but there you go.
Like I say, you wonder how people's mind works nowadays, or just in general how they're thinking. But yeah, that is a crock of shit, man. That is hypocrisy at its finest.
So
Just
to
ridiculous.
hell, because I dare to put on women's clothes and look like one of them homos.
God.
But as long as you're beating her, that's okay.
Yeah.
They would have rather me been beating up my ex instead of wearing women's clothes.
Hey, if you want to verbally abuse and physically abuse some, that's fine. But hey, don't you dare wear those clothes. That is just ridiculous.
I mean, what they didn't know is my ex was more verbally abusive to me than I was even to her.
God,
I wasn't. I'm one of those people that, even before I transitioned, I wouldn't say I was submissive, but I didn't look for fights. And whenever we would get into a heated argument where I thought it was getting a little too heated, I would try to remove myself, go for a drive, jump in my car, go for a drive. She would physically put herself in front of the door and start berating me. Like, why don't you stay here and talk about it? What are you a pussy? Are you too chicken shit to stay here and work this out? She would do stuff like that. And I saw a therapist for 2 years, and the therapist was like, that's abuse. That's borderline kidnapping, because she's physically blocking you from leaving, knowing good and well that I won't slug her or grab her and throw her out of the way or anything like that. And yeah, she knew how to push buttons. She was very good at that.
That's just like straight up, like you mentioned, their abuse. That's just mind fucking and just messing with someone's psyche right there. You don't do that.
Exactly. And, a lot of people are like, would you have stayed if she was willing to accept Raven? And I was like, hell no. No, I was checking out as quickly as I could.
And you made the right decision on that, of course. You don't want to be around that. And also, it's just bad energy and a bad environment. Why would you want to stay in that?
Yeah, and do you have any kids?
Me? I'm single.
Okay. Okay, so you probably won't even, well, you may have nieces and nephews.
I have a cousin, and I do have nieces and nephews, yes.
When I would try to discipline my children, towards the end, my son was getting up in that age where he was becoming a loudmouth smartass to his parents. And I remember one time in particular, he got really mad about something, and he went to his room and he slammed the door really hard. And I was like, oh, hell no. So I open his door, I walk in his room, he stands up and puffs out at me.
Yeah, and his chest all bowed up, just like sticking the chest out, yep.
Yes. So here I am, 200 pounds at the time, because it was getting closer to me transitioning,
Okay.
and I was trying to lose weight. He puffs up on me. So I would never beat the hell out of my son, but my father taught me that if you puff up and you're going to act like a man, you're going to get treated like a man. So he puffed up. I just kind of shoved him down on his bed. Get him off his feet so he can't keep this puffing up stuff going on. Ex-wife comes running in from the other room. What the hell are you doing? Pulls back on me like she's going to try to slug me. And it's like, wow. That was when I really came to the realization that I am doing the right thing by extricating myself from this situation.
And I think that's also kind of like how we treat kids or just treat our family members now, because I think there's a lack of discipline in a way. I think, you know what it is too, like I grew up, I'm a 90s kid, I'm 27 years old now, and before like Facebook, yes.
Like 5 years older than my son.
There you go. But you know what it was too? I was surrounded, and I say this, and I really do. I had my parents were hard ass workers, and they were a bit strict in a way. But my parents, I can't explain it. Just I was around my grandparents and my parents a lot. I was very family oriented. I had a lot of great friends, but I saw like, I'll be honest, I was not the best child. I would act out in moments, but you know what it is too? I was disciplined. And right nowadays, you know, I remember in junior high school, when someone would get in trouble, we'd have the timeout room. And I'm like, are we in kindergarten? Like, what is the timeout room going to do? We're 13, 14-year-old teenagers. So it's just the discipline nowadays. And also everything is internet oriented. But yeah, you know what I'm trying to say.
Oh, yeah. And what's sad is it's starting to spill over into our military. When I went through basic training, because I was in a combat role, they have to be very, oh gosh, what's the word I'm thinking for? Assholes, basically. Mm-hmm. They got to make you hard.
Like tough love.
Yeah, they got to break you down to build you back up. When I went through in 1992, they weren't supposed to hit you, but who's going to tell? So it happened. I never got slugged myself. My father, who had spent time in the Army, gave me some really good advice. Well, he gave me a few good advices. He said one thing was never volunteer for anything, and then the other one was stay invisible. So I did my damnedest just to stay invisible, and it worked great. But now you have, and I don't know if you've ever even heard this, now they have things called stress cards.
I've heard of it. I've heard the term.
Yes. So you got, picture Full Metal Jacket. If Arlie Ermy was doing his little chew-out session at the beginning of the movie, yeah. And somebody pulled out a card. Because from what I understand, as soon as they pull out that card, the drill instructors have to stop. And I can't imagine how that would affect you, because when you're on the battlefield and you're scared shitless, you can't pull out that card and tell ISIS or the Taliban to stop. Exactly. You're there to the end, whether you live or die.
Yeah, you're in the moment. Well, you mentioned whether you live or you die. I mean, you can't just pull out the card and say, "Hey, you know what I'm saying? You're in the battlefield."
Yep. It blew my mind when I first heard about that. And I was like, oh my God, here we go. Here's the end of our country. But you know what? It's an opinion.
Yeah.
A lot of people think the end of the country's here because of gays, lesbians, and transsexuals. So everybody's got their opinion.
Yeah, and it's just, it's the country that we live in. It's what a world that we live in, and I hear you 100% on that. just the things that happened in this life. What happened in your life, what I got to say is, when we're talking about the adult entertainment industry, I got to talk about this just because I think you and I have touched upon this even before we went on air and in our exchanges.
Oh, God, where are you going?
Well, you know that I'm a big wrestling fan, so we have to talk about...
Oh, I know where you're going now.
So... The All-American Wet Dream Lily legend. We're talking about Lucy Goosey, Sin Dribbles and Lube. Can we talk about this? Because it's just, yeah, can we talk about this? How did the wrestling theme film come together? Because like I said, that's pretty cool. We'll discuss some wrestling in here, but go right ahead.
I'm trying to think of how the initial idea came about. I think, if I'm remembering correctly, we started talking about it at Fetish Con, which is something where we do what's called Tranny House every year, where we rent a big house and we invite everyone who's trans or trans-friendly and wants to film with a trans person. We've never had a trans man, but, it's not for lack of... It's not like we would tell them no, we've just never been approached. But... Lucy Goosey, Callie Cox, had come out to film with us, and I I think somewhere in Tranny House was where that idea came about. Um, I'm literally the only person that didn't get to pick their name. So the All American Wet Dream Lily Legend is all Kimber. I did not come up with that name. Callie came up with Lucy Goosey. And Dribbles and Lube, Kirsten and Kaylin, they came up with their own names. Riley was actually in it. She was Pepper Dugan. She was the retired champion. And oh gosh, for the life of me, I can't remember what name Kimber gave herself, but they were the two commentators for everything that was going on. And then at the end, Riley comes out of retirement because she doesn't like what she's seeing happening. And that's a whole nother sex scene. If you want to see that, you're going to either have to buy or VOD or buy the DVD.
Okay. Well, when you talk about the All-American Wet Dream Lily Legend, this is where my wrestling knowledge comes to fruition. Okay, so God rest his soul. Take out the wet part. American Dream, the late great Dusty Rhodes, baby. Then when I look at yes,
what Kimber was trying to base my character on. She said it was half Dusty Rhodes and half the Ultimate Warrior.
The God rest his soul, the great Jim Helwig, the Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah, because if you've seen, and I'm sure you've seen the pictures, yes. I've got the whole arm bicep tassels just like the Ultimate Warrior had.
Yeah, all you needed to talk about was tear down the cockpit door, Hulk Hogan, get the arms raising like he does, the run to the ring. Yeah, I saw it. I saw you got the tassels, a nice little tribute to the Ultimate Warrior.
Yes, and the whole time I'm shooting, I'm actually, everything I'm wearing is like American flag themed. During the shoot, I actually wore and this is kind of a throwback to the 80s, it was what's called a monokini, and the sides came up really high, and it went back into like a thong, and it's totally the bathing suit you would see an extremely sexy supermodel from like 1988 wearing. Yeah. So it's I did that, but then for the cover, I ended up having to wear a bikini because when I was wrestling, and it was before the fuck scene even happened with Kirsten, she had gotten makeup all over that monokini and it wasn't coming out. And I did not want to do the DVD cover in a monokini that looked like I had been rolling in the dirt. So I ended up switching to a American flag bikini for the actual shoot for the cover of the DVD. But I went all out. These girls kind of we were all tasked with coming up with our own looks. I was the only one that was kind of steered in a certain direction, but I took it and I ran with it. And I went out and I bought the knee pads. I went out and I found a pair of these pleaser boots that are red, white, and blue with they're mainly blue with like white stars all over them. I was doing the All-American Wet Dream right.
I gotta say, first and foremost, that's commitment right there to your character. That's commitment to the gimmick right there. Getting the boots all over. I like that. That's commitment to the character that you're portraying. I dig that. And you know what's funny is, I mentioned this to Callie, is you look at names like Lucy Goosey and Sin Dribbles and Lube. I said, kind of picture it like back in the 80s and what we see with Netflix, like the gorgeous ladies of wrestling. Like, yeah. Sin Dribbles and Lube, Hollywood and Vine, Lucy Goosey. Yeah, exactly. That's what it's like.
There's one point where we're filming, okay. And the girls like to talk shit about how weak I am. So I'm kind of wrestling around with Kirsten Buns, and at one point, I'm like, in my head, I'm like, we need to move on to the next part of the scene where we actually start having sex. But I don't know if she was having so much fun wrestling, she wouldn't let the shit go. So she's like piling up on top of me, and I'm getting the cues that we need to move on to the next scene, and she won't let it go. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to fuck this bitch up. Let her see exactly how strong I really am. So Kirsten Buns is on top of me, And I did kind of like the old 80s wrestling. I'm like down on my hands and knees while she's on top of me. And I lift up one leg and I plant it on the floor. So I'm kind of like one knee, one foot on the floor. And I'm like, I'm going to throw this bitch. And so, you know, and I don't know how much Kirsten weighs. I'm sure it's similar to what I weigh. And I'm like, fine, you want to keep climbing on top of me and letting me up, you know, you want to play with the bull, you're going to get the horns. And I just stood up. And I could tell, she's like, oh, fuck, shit just got real. And I stand up and I throw her off me. And we actually keep it in the movie. But where we had to cut, and you still see a little bit of this in the DVD. So here's a little Easter egg. If you're watching it closely enough, you got to watch Kirsten's face right before we cut. Because I stand up, I throw Kirsten off me, and as she's sitting up, right before they cut it, and this is the reason they cut it, she's laughing. And we cut it right there because as she's laughing, she goes, okay, I deserve that. See, it's Riley. Riley is always picking on me about how weak I am. And I don't know how familiar you are with yoga, but there is a yoga pose called the crane. Mm-hmm. And you kind of you plant your hands down, you put like your knees on the back side of your hand or back side of your elbows, and you pick your feet up off the floor and kind of tuck them into your chest, and you are literally just balancing on your hands with your knees kind of over your arms, and you just balance there. And I literally can do that for as long as I want because I've actually done a lot of yoga. And I had Callie, Kirsten, Kaylin, and Riley all staying at my house while we were filming this movie. And the funniest sight in the world is seeing 4 girls who know nothing about yoga trying to do crane on my living room floor. Because it just, I mean, it looks like, you know, they're just falling all over the place. They're laughing. And then I get down there and I'm like, look, this is how easy it is. And I just got up and I did it. And they're like, yeah, but you're so strong. And it's like, you bitches are the same size as me. I'm 140 pounds. And it's like, I guess, I don't know if it comes from me doing all the weightlifting before I transitioned, but if you were to take a woman or even a trans woman who is the same size as me, same build, same everything, I tend to be physically much stronger than them. And the last time I went and got my hormone stuff tested, my testosterone was 11, and a genetic female should be under 70. And my estrogen was through the roof at like 1,300.
Jeez.
So I've been like that for almost 6 years now. So, I mean, all of I'm in essence, you know, as far as physiologically minus what's swinging between my legs, a female. And it's just, for some reason, I have kept not all of the strength, but I've kept probably more than I want. And Kimber is actually the same way. Kimber is only 170 pounds now, but she makes me look weak. So it's just, you know, it's when you're filming these movies, I have to keep in mind, and so does Kimber, that if you're doing physical stuff, you have to be very careful around some of these girls.
Well, fair point. I also what's funny about it when you talk about yoga, and this is kind of where the wrestling ties in. Besides the fact that I had a high school friend that does yoga now, her name is Paula. I do remember DDP, the great Diamond Dallas Page has his DDP yoga, and Trish Stratus had her Stratusfaction yoga. So you could say that I first found out about yoga through wrestling because after their wrestling careers, they got into yoga.
Yeah, I mean, I won't say I've ever watched a lot of wrestling. My wrestling watching days go back to the days of Sergeant Slaughter and the Ultimate Warrior and the
Yep, yep.
Iron Sheik and Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant,
Mm-hmm.
back in the 80s. When I was an adult, because I got married very young, had kids very young, so a lot of my attention was on family and kids, and I actually went out and bought a car specifically for racing, had it built specifically for racing, and I did a lot of like autocross racing in my late 20s, early 30s. Did a lot of car shows, stuff like that with my car. Did a lot of traveling too, around to different Ford events. And so I really didn't watch much wrestling. Instead of wrestling, I was racing cars.
You know what's funny is like you mentioned racing cars, and I think when you talk about wrestling, a lot of people refer to the '80s, which it is. It was the golden age of professional wrestling. What's funny is Medusa. It was Alundra Blaze in the WWF at the time. Because you mentioned racing, after she retired from pro wrestling, she actually has her own like monster truck thing. She races her own monster trucks. So I guess if you want to tie in racing, you have Medusa going into monster trucking right after her professional wrestling career ended.
Yeah, I used to be told I was built like China.
Well, you know what it is too. A lot of people say, but well, and God rest her soul. But I think a lot of people attribute her as being what really got women's wrestling off the ground. And I mean, she was an amazing talent from starting as a bodyguard, and then she got into professional, started getting in the ring. I mean, the first ever female intercontinental champion. So I mean, she broke down a lot of doors. I think that's a great comparison. She came out with her own workout DVD in 2000. So I mean, she inspired a lot of people. So that's kind of a cool comparison.
Yeah, but let's just be clear though. I was China after WWE.
Oh, okay, yeah. Then
Yeah,
we're talking about.
maybe right in the very beginnings of my transition, I
Gotcha.
probably favored WWE China. But once I started losing weight, probably in the last 2 years, I before I lost all the weight again, because I did it in kind of like two phases. When I knew actually three phases. When I knew I was going to transition, but wasn't presenting as female yet, I was trying to get in really good shape, but not give myself up. So I started doing a lot of running, wasn't lifting as many weights, and went from about 215 down to about 190. Then I started presenting as a female right in that area, but I was still going out dressed before. So I was 5'6", 215 pounds, going around in a mini skirt and sexy tops and wigs, and I thought I was the shit. And I look back on those pictures now, and it's like I've got everything I can do not to, like, just vomit.
Understand. Understood. Let me clarify because I think when you said after China, that gives also a different perspective of where I was going with that. So, think when you think of China after WWF, she left there in 2001. I will say this, people, if you want to see China in like all Japan Pro Wrestling from like 2002 to 2004, it's great. Afterwards, yeah, and God rest her soul, but still, I mean, she had a lot of things going on in her life, so I can see the comparison you were trying to make there.
I was mainly meaning when she kind of left. I guess I didn't know she went to Japan.
Like very shortly, right after she left WWF in 2001.
Okay, yeah, I was built more like China when she had really slimmed down.
Ah, okay. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, big biceps still, gigantic thighs, big calves. That was my curves. But, after a while, even that got old. I got tired of being called She-Hulk. I got tired of being the muscle, trans girl. So that's when I decided I was going to start fasting, and my goal was 140 pounds. And once I got there, I didn't realize how much it actually changed my look. I would go to different places where people hadn't seen me in a while, and they were amazed. A lot of people thought I looked like a completely different person.
Well, I got to tell you something again, just to reiterate. You got your goal, which is 140 pounds, and really, I'm going to tell you something. You really do look good, and I truly mean that. There's a lot of people that put in the time and effort. You're welcome, and you look good, Raven. I'm going to put that there. You look good. To put an emphasis on it, good. That's what you look. You look good.
Well, I mean, I'm not completely weak.
Nah, I got you.
I'm kind of getting a name in trans porn for something that not many girls can do.
Okay.
I pick girls up and carry them around while I fuck them.
Well, that's kind of like make a Saturday Night Live reference. You put things up and put things down. I mean, that's kind of what you do.
Oh my god! Yes, yes.
That's what it is.
I don't know if it's driven more by the fans or by Kimber. A lot of times we'll be doing a scene and she'll just be like, now I want you to pick her up and carry her around and fuck her while you're carrying her. And I'm like, okay, but I have had a few co-stars actually request me to do that for them. I did a scene at Tranny House with a cis female porn star named Helena Price. And if I'm remembering right, she actually requested that we do that she had seen me do that in other videos. And she's like, I want you to do that to me. And with me being an avid runner, the only weak link in carrying somebody around and fucking them is your back. And as long as you can stand up without throwing your back out at 44 years old, I'm good to go. And I can carry them around I can carry anybody around all day and just fuck them.
I was about to say, man, if you got some back problems, well, goddamn, but hey, I see where you're going with the running and the whole nine. You get requests to do that. And I gotta say, I guess people from the consumer standpoint, I guess some people would like get off and like really, I guess, are turned on by that. Yes, thank you.
I love it. I mean, I will get messages on Twitter, FetLife and stuff, and if they've seen them, one of the first things I get is, I love it when you carry girls around and fuck them. And it's like, wow, thanks. I really don't know what to say to that.
I mean, I guess you're doing your job as an entertainer and as an adult star because they like that particular maneuver that you throw into your scene. So I guess it's like you're doing your job in that aspect.
Well, I did not start out as a top, though. I started out as a 100% bottom. It's just the problem is, in trans in general, the hormones can wreak havoc on some girls' libidos and ability to get erections. So there's so many trans girls who are bottoms that literally at the time, Kimber was the only trans top that we had in Bad Girl Mafia. So I kind of stepped up to the plate, and because I'm still very functional, and I found out not only can I pick girls up, I may not have a humongous cock, but because of the way I work out and the way I run and stuff, I have stamina for days. I can fuck a girl as long as I want, and we're not talking like fuck for a few minutes and take a break and fuck for a few more minutes and take a break. No, I will literally pound a girl for 45 minutes to an hour straight. And we're talking like massive pelvic thrusting, not her sitting on top of me. Anybody can fuck for an hour if you're on the bottom.
First of all, two things. Number one, when you talk about pelvic thrust, the image of SpongeBob SquarePants, teaching Squidward how to blow the bubbles. Pelvic thrust, woo, woo. I kind of just gave it to my head. And number two, so you're kind of like Drake. You started from the bottom, now you're here. I see what you're doing there with the top and the bottom coming back. I see what you're doing there.
Oh, I've never put that song in that context, but yeah.
Hey.
No, I just with Kimber kind of stepping back from filming as much because she's wanting to be more on the creative side, it kind of left me all alone. Well, now Riley's come on board and she actually will top or bottom. So at least I'm not the only one, but I am the only one that has stamina. Um, not to keep going back on the same person, but when I was filming with Helena Price,
Mm-hmm.
she was literally the first cis female I ever filmed with. Not that I don't fuck cis females off camera, it's just most of them don't want to be filmed. But I got with her, and I remember at one point them stopping us, and they're like, "You guys have been fucking for almost an hour. Are you guys ever gonna wrap this shit up?" And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, no, this is the first time I've fucked a cis female on video. I'm gonna fuck her as long as I can. But yeah, it's topping is very different from bottoming. If you want me to elaborate, I will at this point.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, bottoming is extremely easy. All you gotta do is clean out your ass and show up. So you don't have anything to worry about unless you didn't clean well. And I'm not going to say that I'm completely innocent of that either, because I've had a few little accidents on set, because there's times you can clean and you clean out a few times and you're like, I'm good. And then there's a few times when you might have had Taco Bell or something the night before and you used a little too much hot sauce, and you keep flushing out over and over and over and over, and you're like, eventually you're like, we're just gonna make this shit work because it's never gonna stop. And being a bottom, all you have to do is worry about being clean. While as a top, you have to worry about performing. And what a lot of people don't understand is a 20-minute porn scene generally takes 2 to 3 hours to film. So you're having to keep this erection for 2 to 3 hours. Another thing a lot of people don't know is Viagra abuse is rampant in porn. You can't get through, and not even the best male porn star can get through a 3-hour shoot without some kind of help.
You know what it is too. Like, you talk about that. I think, you know what, and I'm kind of glad you elaborated on this, because when you talk about shooting for like 20 minutes, I think just a lot of people don't realize the hard work that goes into it. And like you mentioned, topping and bottom, and just having these things happen, and it does. I mean, it just helps give a great insight on what happens when you're shooting scenes and the things that goes into it.
You switch scenes. Because not every scene is like the one I explained where you literally fuck nonstop for an hour. A lot of them, it's like, all right, cut. Now we're going to, switch to this scene. We're going to switch to this one. Somebody's having an issue and wants to go re-clean out. Somebody fucked their makeup up. Things like that. You got makeup on my cock, so we got to wipe that off. So you got to stop. It's a lot of stop and go. And then on top of that, you have a lot of stuff that hits the cutting room floor. It might have looked great at the time when you were filming it, but then, somebody's got, like a face like they're, I don't want to use the word because it's so politically incorrect. Retarded. You look like you're retarded, and that is not going to make it in a porn. So, you film 2-3 hours, usually gets cut down to a 20 or 30-minute scene. Everything else gets pushed out, and it just because it didn't make the cut. Just like whenever you film a blockbuster movie, those people might film, their initial cut might be, 4 hours, but then they've got to cut that down into something that people want to watch. Not many people want to watch a 4-hour movie. Well, 20 to 30 minutes seems to be the little Goldilocks zone for porn. If it's shorter than that, it might be too quick, but if it's longer than that, the people start losing interest unless it's really, really, really good.
Now, what's interesting too is, and I have a couple final things I just want to say. First and foremost, I'm going to say, Raven, it's been really an absolute pleasure, and I'm going to put the overture out to you. Anytime you want to come back on the show, you're more than welcome to.
Sure. I would love to. Invite me anytime.
Please, it's my pleasure. I gotta say this about you. Like, when you talk about Tranny House, like yourself, Kimber, Trixie Von Teese, I know was doing a lot of that. You have a lot of great stuff there. You mentioned Exotica. I have to ask this about you as well. The TEA, Transgender Erotic Awards, how was that like just to be nominated for that? Because you see the AVNs, you see so many award shows in the adult entertainment industry. Can you tell us what it was like to be nominated for that?
Oh, we're actually, this is our second year in a row for being nominated for AVNs also.
Nice. That's what I'm saying. Like, you have all these, like, adult, like you meant the AVNs, like the Super Bowl, if you will, of the adult entertainment industry. And I mentioned TAs. That's got to feel good for you, just, that your work is being, nominated for such prestigious awards.
Yeah, it's very validating. Last year, we were nominated for an AVN for the DVD called Shemale Scares. It's like a horror movie themed porn where we do like a Friday the 13th spoof, we do a Nightmare on Elm Street spoof, and we also do like a Walking Dead spoof. And they're three kind of put together, kind of like Demon Night or Tales from the Crypt.
Like a succubus kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That came out really well. So well, we were nominated. And then this year, we actually got one nominated that's actually called Wendy Williams Schools in Session. Wendy is the school teacher. Wendy Williams is a legend in trans porn. She's been around since the 90s. And she's like the same age as me. She just started porn like in her 20s, where I didn't start till I was in my 40s. She sends us home with homework, and I end up fucking another trans girl. Kimber gives head to a male porn star, and Riley ends up getting fucked by a male porn star. So I was literally the only one that did a scene with a trans woman in there, but it was so well put together that it actually got nominated for an AVN this year. But TEAs, the first year I went to TEAs, this year when we go will be my third year. Mm-hmm. First year I wasn't nominated for anything. I had to go because if you are trans, it's kind of like Mecca for trans people. Last year I was nominated for, I think, 4 or 5 awards. So I came from nothing to like 4 or 5 awards. It's yet to be seen what I'll be nominated for, if anything, this year. Hopefully I am, fingers crossed. When all the nominations come out, all my fans will have to work their butts off, asses off, to get me in there again this year, because I love my fans.
I gotta say, first and foremost, you have my vote. You have my vote, Miss Roxx. And number 2, whether it be like you mentioned, Tranny House, Trixie Von Teese, and all these great people that you worked with. Amy Fox is another one. I've seen you do a lot of great stuff, whether it be like the succubus, exactly. So like the succubus or just whatever films that you do, you take pride in what you do, and it's great to see you just do a lot of great different dynamics with each and every scene that you do.
The new one.
Yes.
Succubus. Oh my God, that was a fucked up porn. I did not want to do that.
Was that another one that you were just like, meh, like no?
Well, I'm not religious, but Kimber literally put a pentagram on the floor.
Jeez.
And I am supposed to be a succubus, a demon that feeds on sexual energy. And, Amy was all in for it because she's all into that occult shit and she wants to be a witch. So she loved it. She played that scene amazingly. But me, I love doing it, but I felt so uncomfortable while we were filming it. The whole time I'm thinking, I'm not religious, but I'm like, if there's a hell, I'm going there. And then at one point when you're watching that video, I come up out of the fire. I come up out of the pentagram, out of the fire, and I'm standing there. And when I watched that scene, the only thing that could pop into my head was the Tenacious D video, The Greatest Song in the World, when the demon appears. And I'm like, oh my God. Because what I didn't know, Kimber finished editing it. She sends it back to me. She doesn't say a word. And in the video, I tell Amy, I go, come to me. Well, what I didn't know was Kimber changed my voice to sound like a damn demon.
Like, come to me. Like that kind of like deep, right?
And I'm like, what the fuck? And she changed my voice for the entire video. So instead of me going, I'm doing it in like this big, deep demon voice. Yep. I've come to love it because I've come to understand that I'm a demon. I should sound evil. But yeah, it was a surprise when I'm sitting there watching it and all of a sudden I sound like, Andre the Giant.
The Hulk Hogan. Yes, exactly. I know what you're talking about. But no, it's one of those things where I guess she wanted to make it like, you're this demon, you're this succubus. So I guess if you want to say you're kind of like evilly fucking, if you will, demonic fucking or whatever. But still, it's, yeah. There you go. but still, it fits. But yeah. No.
Amy and I work very well together. That was the third scene I've done with her.
And she's another one, man. That's just another one that's great at what she does. And like I said, I got to say this. As doing research on you and just, I guess I've been talking to you for just shooting the breeze about this. You've really worked with a lot of great people. I got to give a shout out to you and everybody involved in each and every one of your scenes.
Yes. Actually, I can't take the credit for discovering Amy. Kirsten did that. Amy only lives like an hour away from me, but she was talking to Kirsten and she's like, I know of this really cool company that's in, Kentucky. You should go talk to them. And she put Amy in touch with me, and Amy has done great. Another girl who's done great is Carrie Kane. Mm-hmm. Carrie Kane has been working with us a lot also, and she's done an amazing job. If you see I was the first one to film with Carrie, and I gave her a pound down, and she was a sport about it. And it was actually a weightlifting themed porn. Kimber actually got me like over the shoulder pressing 35-pound dumbbells and stuff in the beginning. Yeah, I ended up giving her a pound down, but she is actually, she stepped up to the plate and she started doing some of the topping herself. And the bitch can take a dick.
I gotta tell you something. What's great about these scenes, like we mentioned, I think just the love and like you mentioned, taking a dick. I think just the amount, just the overall emotion, just the overall work, so to speak, that you guys put into it. I mean, it's great. It really does make for a sensual scene, makes for a great scene, and it makes for, again, going back to the consumer point of view, just great for the consumer to view such a product that is your films.
Well, people can see, people watching the movies. Mm-hmm. You can see, and I'm sure you've noticed this before, because it even happens in cis porn. Mm-hmm. If somebody's not having fun, you can tell.
Of course.
When you film with Bad Girl Mafia, once you've done that, you're family. We treat it almost like the mafia. Once you've done a video with us, once you've done anything with us, we treat you like family. We do tranny house. We always know that Trixie's going to come into town. So we're like, Trixie, we have kind of like unspoken tiers to the family, though. It's kind of like a biker gang. You get the new guys, you get the hang-arounds, you get the pledges, and then you get, the full-blown patch members. And Trixie would be, I would say, is one of those full-blown patch members. Kirsten and Kaylin are. Callie is. Amy is. Carrie is. Once you get to that point, it's like your family. You want to film something, just call us up, tell us you'll be here, we'll set it up for you. If you need a place to stay, doors are always open. Like I said, when they came up here to film BGM Fuckdown, I only have a 2-bedroom apartment, and I literally had 4 other people staying in this apartment with me. So yeah, for an entire week, it was all of us crawling over top of each other, and you have to really love somebody to do that.
To add to that, I will say this: number one, can't beat family, and number two, it's all about accommodation and comfortability. And I gotta say, you exemplify that with each and everything that you do and how you treat your ladies.
Yeah, except I fuck them.
There you go.
Family, but they're not that kind of family.
I get you.
Fuck 'em.
Yes, but like I said, I think it's a great tight knit group that you have, and I gotta say this to you before we even close this out. I love the fact that with these platforms, we get to inspire, we get to encourage, and most importantly, we get to have a lot of fun with what we do here. So I gotta ask you, being a straight vet that you are, do you have any advice for anybody that wants to get involved in said adult entertainment industry and do what you've been doing?
Don't take no for an answer. When you're young, a lot of the trans companies are going to tell you no. The trans porn companies. Don't let it get you down. I mean, we actually took it and turned it into a positive. There's many different ways to do that. So I would just say keep trying. Keep trying. Align yourself with people who are doing or trying to do the same thing you're doing. Because if you align yourself with the wrong people, you're going to be just treading water in one place. So attach yourself to people who are going places. Perfect example, Amy. Amy had never done porn before. Amy is now like a trans daughter to me, if you want to call it that. She's very eager to learn. She wants to go places. She has found us and she has attached herself to us. So she's attached herself to people who are making things happen in trans porn. If you can't, and you have the ability, there are places in this country that are more, what's the word I'm looking for? The ability to film is much better. Mm-hmm. Not the best to film in Kentucky. That's why we had to make our own company. But, Vegas, LA, Miami, you go to any of those places and you can't really throw a stone without hitting somebody who does porn.
Well, I got to say, first and foremost, beautifully said on the advice. And I have to say people adhere to that advice because we got a great woman here and Miss Raven Roxx. I'm going to tell you something straight up right now. Again, to reiterate, like I said I would, I truly wish you nothing but love, happiness, and continued success. You're an awesome human being.
Thank you.
You are very welcome. Truly meant that. Sentiments, the whole nine. So, this is where I step back, Miss Raven Roxx. Promote Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, where everybody can find you on the social medias, upcoming events. The floor is yours, and the links will be in the description below here on the SoundCloud page. Go right ahead.
Oh, well, I make it very easy. They're all pretty much the same. If you want to follow me on Twitter, I just recently started a page. It's just, I had one before, and it kind of got deleted, and I got jaded, so I didn't pull it back up, but I'm seeing a need for it now. Just look up TS Raven Roxx, and all of these are going to be Roxx with ROXX. You can find me on Twitter. It's also just at TS Raven Roxx. If you want to see my videos, you have a few different options. You have ravenroxx.com. That's a monthly membership website, and I try to put everything on there every week to every other week. Then you have ManyVids. And people that aren't familiar with that, I made it really easy. I actually bought my own link to ManyVids, so if you want to find my ManyVids videos, all you have to do is go to mvravenroxx.com, and that way, if you're kind of shying away from like a monthly membership basis thing, you can actually go to that place, and I upload the same videos in pretty much the same time frame, but you can buy each individual video. So you don't have to be a monthly member and watch them all. You can just say, well, I like this. I like Summoning the Succubus. I like T-Girl Space Pirates. You can just buy them individually. You also have badgirlmafia.com, which is the main website for our radio show, which is hosted on Demon Seed. Hopefully I can say that. And then inside of that, because we also sell our DVDs at badgirlmafia.com, and the VOD, everything like that is listed there. You can either, there's a link there over to the radio show, or if you want to skip the link and just go straight to the radio show, it's just tiradioshow.com. So Tango India, for those military people, radioshow.com.
The links and everything that Miss Raven Roxx just said will be in the description below this SoundCloud audio, but you can check on soundcloud.com/MCLarkin92 and StephenMikeShow.com, which is up and running. All the links will be in there for everybody to listen to. And my final words is check out Raven Roxx. Why? Because, pun intended, she rocks. Great content, great human being. Raven, do you have any final words for your fans?
I love you guys. I mean, I fully believe that without your fan, well, it's kind of obvious too. I mean, it's a no-brainer. Without my fans, I'd just be jerking off in front of a computer, or I'd just be fucking somebody in front of a computer. So I absolutely thank my fans from the bottom of my heart. Without you guys, I would not be here. Without you guys taking time out of your days, going to all of these Twitter posts when nominations come around, and going and clicking on the links and putting my name in the boxes and actually nominating me for awards, I wouldn't be anybody. There would be no Raven Roxx. So thank you, guys.
So for Raven Roxx, pun intended, emphasis, my name is Mike Larkin. Thank you guys for listening to another edition of On the Mic with Mike. I will see you next time. And Raven Roxx, one more time, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for your time.
Same here. Thank you for having me.
All right, guys. Talk to you next time.